Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Olson with the National Tile Contractors Association. I want to welcome you and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend today's webinar. Today's webinar, Residential Tile Remodeling Upgrade Options, is sponsored and presented by Laticrete International. Now, before I introduce today's speaker, I need to remind you that during the webinar, you will be muted. Please use the questions area on your computer to type in your questions, and we will answer those questions at the end of this presentation. If the audio on your computer is poor, call the number on your invite to this webinar to listen on your phone. All of our webinars are available to watch at any time on the NTCA YouTube channel shortly after the webinars are presented. Subscribe and you will be notified of all upcoming NTCA videos, including all technical webinars, giving you easier access to watch all current and past programs at your convenience. Today's speaker, and I'm proud to present, Arthur Minty. He serves as the Senior Director of Technical Services at Laticrete International. He's responsible for overseeing the operations of Laticrete Technical Services Department, which provides technical assistance to specifiers and construction professionals, and is actively involved in global education and training for tile and construction industry materials and methods. He also serves on various tile and stone standards development and technical committees, including ANSI, ISO, TCNA, NTCA, and NSI. He also authors many industry articles and technical manuals and is a frequent speaker at industry events. I want to welcome Art Minty. Welcome, Art.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to present to the group today. And we want to thank all the attendees as well for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this. So we hope you find this informational. I hope you find it educational as well. And away we go. We're going to talk about residential remodeling. If there's one thing that we can say right now, the residential market has never been better as far as opportunities for growth and just for opportunities for us to, really profit from what's happening in the market. I think it's been unprecedented. So we're going to talk about trends in residential projects, and we're going to look at specific areas in a home, bathrooms and showers, obviously, kitchens. We're also going to take a look at some outdoor living areas as well, and hopefully these ideas will spark some creativity in us, and maybe you'll be able to offer other services for other opportunities when you're called to a project for a renovation. And then we're going to go through some tips and solutions as we usually do. So the first thing we're going to just talk about is trends. And I'm sure that everyone who's involved with residential work right now knows how hot the markets are. The price increases in homes from last year to now are up about 10%. And that's from Zillow, who puts a survey out periodically. And their forecast into 2022 is just as good. They're forecasting an 11% increase in the median cost of homes for the next year. So what that does is that also promotes the possibility for renovations. And this house survey, where we had information based on this, that 83% of residential upgrades are always in the restrooms. And I'm sure the balance of that is probably in the kitchen areas. 9 out of 10 respondents mentioned that they're changing their bathroom style. And we're seeing a lot of trends as to zero entry showers, increasing the size of the showers, expanding areas of use for tile and stone in areas that maybe they didn't consider before. And also the median national spend for bathroom renovations is about $8,000, which is a nice sum there. And there's opportunities for some nice labor demand in that area. So just keep these metrics in mind as you price out projects and as you decide, where to focus the business. Obviously, residential right now is very hot in comparison to commercial, and a lot of contractors are choosing to focus on residential areas. We're also going to try to show a lot of photography during the presentation here. Hopefully that stirs some creativity and imagination as well. And just take a look at the trends that you'll see. Bright areas, showers are large, multiple shower heads, rain heads, body sprays, you know, so those are going to necessitate a larger footprint for the showers in themselves. And then also take a look at some of the patterns that you'll see. If you follow tile manufacturers on Instagram or Facebook, you'll notice some trends with the old school patterns that are coming back. I can't tell you how many herringbone patterns are being depicted by many of the manufacturers. So stack bond, herringbone, the old school patterns, the encaustic look is very trendy right now. And manufacturers that have those types of tiles are also showing a great increase in that. And then, you know, the typical traditional finishes such as porcelain and glass and stone are also in the mix as well. So here are some other nice bath and shower designs. Again, notice the trend, the size, a lot of glass partitions in between the tubs and the showers, large format materials, very bright and airy. Here's again the rain shower heads. You'll notice the different inlays that are being used as well for the ceilings, the niches, and even around the diverters. There's always going to be some sort of decorative element to it. Even the ropes that are used as far as trim are very trendy as well, and we're starting to see a large selection of those become available as well. So as you consider the photography here, let's not forget the technical aspects of what we're trying to show today as well. The installation methodology that we're depicting is always based on ANSI standards and also based on Tile Council of North America Handbook for Installation Methodology. So many of the showers and bathrooms that you're going to see are always going to fall into line with the residential or commercial 4 environmental classification, which is usually high humidity, heavy moisture, and also will include the wet areas. And if you have a steam room, then obviously you're going to look into environmental classification number 5. So just keep that in mind as we go through some of the photography and the elements today. Some other areas where tile and stone are being consumed, where they might not have been used as much before, even in laundry areas. So this is a very trendy area in new homes and even residential upgrades. Homeowners are demanding a larger laundry room area, might serve as a mud room as well. And there's a great opportunity to use ceramic tile and also stone finishes in these areas as well. So hopefully these can spark some ideas as well. Again, if you're using a steam room, keep in mind the environmental classification shifts to number 5. That means that your installation materials must be able to handle temperatures in excess of 125 degrees Fahrenheit. And you also need waterproofing that will prevent any vapor migration through the materials. So they have to have a low perm rate. So you'll see a specific type of membrane that's called a low perm membrane that's used in steam showers. So this is just another great design with the accents and the floor matching, as well as the niche and the accent wall over the tub. So some other great ideas for designs. If you're using waterproofing membrane on some of these applications, also keep in mind the termination points of the waterproofing membrane that you're using. Typically, if it's a steam room, the entire chamber should be encapsulated. So walls, floors, the ceiling, any benches or niches, all have to be contained with the waterproofing membrane. If it's not a steam room and you're using a specific type of drain, like a linear drain is depicted here, or even a bonding flange drain, if you look at the tile council methods in the handbook, that will dictate that the membrane be carried at least to the height of the shower head. So those are methods B420 and B421. And again, just notice where it talks about the termination points of the membrane. You also have to keep in mind good building practices, slope to drain, your drain requirements, usually a 1/4 inch per foot in most conditions, unless you have ADA conformance where you have a specific rise that cannot be exceeded from the outside floor into the entry into the shower chamber. Sometimes you can get away with 1/8 of an inch per foot, depending on what your local code will allow you to do. And again, keep in mind that waterproofing membranes should meet the standard of ANSI A11810 for performance criteria. And it's also a good idea to flood test those areas before the cladding of the tile and stone takes place. So again, just keep in mind good practices based on Tile Council handbook methodology and ANSI standards as we're depicting here. So whatever we're putting the tile and stone on for renovations, we never know what we're going to run into. We recently did a couple of renovations in my father's home, and he has kind of a mid-century ranch, if you will. And when you start peeling things away, you never know what you're going to find, right? So just make sure, again, that the backing materials are solid, that they're in conformance with what the installation materials manufacturer will allow you to use. So whether it's new cement backer board, if you're going over something that's existing from framing, or even cement mortar or masonry, things of that nature, they should be sound, stable, clean, and able to support the weight of the tile installation that's going to be placed on there. We also want to talk about the finishes a little bit. Depending on where the tile application is used, so exterior or interior, you always want to use the tile that's recommended by the manufacturer that's suitable for that area. So if it's exterior, make sure that the tile is rated for those conditions. Obviously, in some places in the country, you might have more freeze-thaw concerns than you have elsewhere, so that should be a consideration. And then interior, just be mindful that not all tile types are recommended for wet areas. Some might only be suitable for walls, and just keep that in mind as you're selecting the finishes. So typically, impervious or vitreous types, group 1 and 2, and semi-vitreous are usually the best finishes for all applications in a home. Again, we talked about the Tile Council handbook. The new handbook should be coming out soon, usually in the spring. So the 2020 version is the current version that's available. And if you haven't looked at the handbook in the past dozen years or so, you're going to be surprised as to how progressive it is, how thick it is now, probably close to 400 pages, and how inclusive it is of the many various tile installation methods that are available to installers. One of the renovation sequences, if you will, that are in the handbook are under the TR category. So if you look in the handbook, you'll see 3 or 4 TR labeled details. And basically these details allow you to tile over an existing surface. And a lot of them have to deal with wall tile conditions. This is an example of a photo of a tile over tile installation, getting a fresh update over an older quarry tile type floor with a modern porcelain tile finish. So the rules for this in going to or dealing with a procedure is we want to make sure that the existing tile is well bonded and adhered. It's clean, it's free of any sealers or waxes, and that there's no defects in the finish. And then you might want to apply a skim coat if necessary to flush up the grout joints that might be there. and then use a high performance latex thin set mortar or whatever adhesive is necessary for the finish that you're using to bond the new finish over the existing. So tile over tile renovation projects are very good. They're accepted. It's a modern way to freshen a look. And with the thin profile finishes that are available in the marketplace now, it makes these renovations even more appealing. So we're seeing a lot of demand for tile over tile. So just keep in mind, in the handbook, it's the TR level details and methods. Some other design trends that we're seeing in kitchens are the upgrades to countertops. So many tile installers also install tile or stone countertops. Some of them require fabrication and customization. So that's something that you can look to add to your arsenal, if you will. Even for floors, some design trends include what we call tile carpet inlays, right? And maybe they like a look of hardwood, as is depicted here, and they're placing a decorative and caustic looking tile just in either the traffic areas or the high use areas near the stove, the dishwasher, the refrigerator, or the sink, as is depicted here. Backsplashes obviously are also included in that. So this is also considered mixed media tile inlays or tile carpets, whatever phrasing you're taking a look at. And look at the old school styles. These are the trends that we're seeing out there right now. So what's old is new again, and we're seeing a demand for these types of finishes. So here's a typical kitchen backsplash and countertop as well, matching stone countertop from the main kitchen island top, and then just your typical ceramic or porcelain tile backsplash. This is another example of a hardwood floor that has some mixed media in it as well. Notice the backsplash, how highly decorative that is. You have your stone countertops, and then also look to the fireplace that you see to the right of the photo. So there's a lot of opportunity for tile and stone to be consumed, even in kitchens like this, where the main media might be hardwood. Or it could even be a plank-looking tile. Sometimes you can talk a homeowner into that. If they really like a hardwood finish, there are porcelain and ceramic tiles that mimic that look and will give them the appearance of hardwood with the ease of maintenance of a ceramic or porcelain tile. Here's another nice kitchen. This one also has the glazed ceramic plank flooring that looks like a darker hardwood. You'll see the countertops with different styles from the island over to the main countertops. And again, a glass tile backsplash that offsets and complements the entire installation. Here we see a nice installation with a matching floor, kind of blends the cabinetry and the floor and the countertops together. And you're looking at, again, an old school pattern. Look at the pattern on the floor. It's one of those modular systems that used to be very trendy 40, 50 years ago. And those are also back in style now as well. And you have a nice stone offset on the backsplash as well. Some other areas that we can consider even upgrading an installation has to do with what we call creature comforts, right? So we talk about creature comforts in showers, right? Bigger shower heads, the body spray, the jets, steam rooms, things of that nature, right? Really creature comforts for the occupant of the shower or the tub. Well, floor heating is another opportunity to expand the ability to increase consumption of your services in a residential application. And so you'll see floor heating mats used in conjunction with uncoupling membranes that kind of integrate with each other. So these are some areas where you can look to upgrade the installation. And usually when you give the option to a homeowner who's investing time and energy and resources into upgrading their residence, And if they're going to be there for quite a while, we've seen that introducing them to floor heating is something that's very desirable. And so this is a nice area that you can look to increase the footprint of your work in a typical residential project. So again, the components can include an uncoupling membrane that receives the wire system. There's also additives that you can put into your adhesive mortar that help to increase the heating rate. They're called thermal packs, which aid in reflecting the heat upward into the area that is being tiled. So typically the floor warming process can include either the wire cable being run on clips directly onto a floor or into an uncoupling membrane, as we see depicted here with the wire that's running through the tabs, if you will. And then the floor warming system can either be encapsulated in a skim coat of latex thinset mortar or even in a layer of self-leveling underlayment. The nice thing about using self-leveling is that it reduces the risk of running your trowel over the top of the radiant cables, which can nick them and create an issue with the system's functionality. So it might be best to consider the use of a self-leveling membrane whenever possible, or self-leveling underlayment whenever possible over a heated system. But just check with your manufacturer to make sure that that's an application that they support. So again, also make sure that you run your cabling in accordance with what the manufacturer recommends. They'll want you to stay away from certain fixtures, a certain distance, if you will. You can't go under the tubs, as is depicted here. You have to stay a specific distance away from the walls and other elements as well for the material to function correctly. And so here we see the stone now being installed over the self-leveling system. And again, you just have to use a little extra care to make sure that you're not puncturing or otherwise damaging your underlayment and underlying floor heating system when you're tiling over them. And that's really it. It's a fast, simple process. It can add a significant upgrade to your labor invoice, if you will, if you're looking at doing that. And again, look at the creature comfort part of it from the homeowner's perspective. Also, the thermostats that come with the system are very intuitive as well. Some of them are programmable, some are Wi-Fi based. And again, those add another level of sophistication to a home and increase its values as well. Okay, let's consider some other remodeling challenges and opportunities, if you will. Sometimes you may run into a project, we talked about it a little bit before, that you never know what you're going to run into on a renovation. Sometimes you might run into an existing surface that's questionable in your mind. How am I going to adhere to this? It doesn't look like I can do that. Some manufacturers have come out with primers, if you will, that you can roll on or trowel onto an existing surface, and that will enhance the bond of the subsequent adhesive mortar over the top of that primer. So they're bond enhancing primers. You also have to make sure that the installation is properly leveled, right? You might run into a renovation and you might have a floor that's really out of conformance, if you will. So consider self-leveling underlayments, possibly in lieu of a mortar bed, right? So those are faster opportunities to make an impact on the time schedule as well. And also the use of lightweight boards, backer boards, can also improve your efficiency and speed and add to the final design element of a home, such as being depicted here. So bond enhancing primers are just that. They're liquids. You pop the lid, you dip your paint roller or brush or trowel into it, and you roller coat the material onto the existing surface. So what's being depicted here is a very shiny existing ceramic or porcelain floor. Maybe the installer is not comfortable tiling directly over it. It looks a little shiny. I don't know if I'm going to get a good bond. A bond enhancing primer might be the solution there. And these primers can be applied over a host of different substrates. So just consult with your manufacturer of that product to see what's compatible with that material. And then once it dries, you can install your new finishes right over them. If you're concerned about weight in an installation, most manufacturers now have lightweight mortar solutions and options. So your typical mortars that weigh, say, 2 pounds for a 2-inch thick mortar bed, or 20 pounds for a 2-inch thick mortar bed per square foot, which is a lot of weight in an installation. There are lightweight options now that are probably a third or half of that weight. So even from the physical structure of a building, you could add less weight to it, therefore reducing the stress that's on an installation. And then obviously for the worker, it's less stress on your labor, right? Using lightweight materials makes it easier for labor to carry, move around products, mix them, to push them around, to install them. So the overall health of an installer also is better when you're using lightweight products. So they're available in underlayments, mortars, adhesives, grouts, backer boards. There's a lot of lightweight considerations that you can think about. How about moving to the exterior? Are there areas where you can possibly expand your expertise there and install things that maybe aren't part of your traditional portfolio? We like to say that a tile man can do anything, and I love how tile installers solve problems on projects. Back when I was in the trade, I would always be amazed at the creativity of mechanics and what they would come with to solve a challenging issue. And it's no different today. If you're looking to expand, your portfolio of expertise, look to exterior applications as to where you can apply your skills and beautify areas that are near neighbors. They might not be exactly the same as tile setting in the traditional sense, but a lot of those principles can apply when it comes to masonry installations. So sometimes, you can have the opportunity to install feature walls and other areas of that from a landscaping perspective on exterior. So masonry veneer systems we would consider as being near neighbor categories. And a lot of these veneers are installed just like tile. They just might be a little thicker, maybe a little heavier. It might require a little bit more shimming, a little bit more creativity in keeping the finishes in place as they're being installed or as they're curing. But there are definitely opportunities to expand your ability to install in areas that you might not have considered before. So here's another masonry veneer system applied to the area around a garage. And again, notice the troweling techniques might not be exactly the same, but you can apply trowel or tile troweling techniques when you're installing these materials as well. Masons will use typically a point trowel or a flat trowel to butter the finishes and to butter the substrates. But there's also the tile setters method where you're back skimming the substrate with the flat side of a trowel. You're notch troweling the substrate, and then you're back troweling the finish and then bedding it accordingly that way. So masonry veneer systems, again, are a great opportunity to expand your work, if you will. So here's a house that's clad entirely in a masonry veneer finish. Beautifies the exterior of it, makes it look nice and modern as well. Some other living spaces that you can consider outside are pool decks, pools and spas, the water line around pools, the steps around these tiled areas. people are spending a lot of time at home now, especially with the pandemic and the restrictions in travel. Some families don't want to take a chance and go on their typical family vacations. So we're starting to see the opportunity to create these vacation spots in one's own yard. So pool builders are so busy right now. Here's another anecdotal thing from Connecticut here. The pool builders, and we only have a very short season here, maybe three and a half months for pool use. Most of the pool builders are backed up for a year and a half to 2 years because of how much work they have and the demand to put in residential swimming pools at the moment. So these might be some areas where you can call on these pool builders and offer your services to install tile on decks, at the water lines, and some other living areas like we see here, this fireplace or this outdoor kitchen. These are all areas where you might have an opportunity. Here are some other fireplaces, water features, hot tubs and spas, just beautiful areas. You create your own vacation spot now. Here's some other areas with a nice limestone pool deck, a glass tile in the tub area. And again, you'll notice that there's ceramic tile at the water line and also at the step features in the pool itself. Here's another angle of another project. Notice the nice decorative tile work on top of the range hood. Also some other creative ideas around the pool deck and the fireplace areas as well. A lot of mixed media is also being used with these pool areas. You'll see a lot of glass being introduced into these areas. Lighting is also a nice feature that really enhances the utility of the tile finishes that are chosen. Real creative water feature with negative edges and infinity edges and things of that nature with waterfalls, mixing in what they call fire with it. So you'll see a lot of fire features inside of these pool areas as well. So great additions to these living spaces or these outdoor living spaces that you can consider. All right, so hopefully that gave you a lot of ideas on where you can possibly expand your tile installation expertise and services on these residential applications. We just now want to touch on some of the products that you can use that can help you increase productivity, your speed, and also be good for the workers for their own health and safety. So we always talk about working faster, cleaner, safer, trying to take time off of your schedule, right? So if you have moisture related issues in a lot of these existing structures, whether they're basements or low lying areas, you might consider the use of moisture mitigation prevention systems that will still allow you to get back onto the system in a very quick time. So if you have a moisture issue with an existing residential application, think about these items that you could use. You could either tile them or place leveling mortars on them in usually just a few hours. So that can save hours and days off of the work schedule as well. Thick bed mortars, there's rapid setting materials, there's lightweight products. Some of them are walkable in as little as 1 hour. So that can save days off of your time schedule as well. You don't have to make all the same return trips. You can apply membranes in most of these applications literally the same day. So if you consult with your installation materials manufacturer, they might be able to bundle an installation suite that can sequence the installation materials in a very fast way that can help you to optimize the time on the job and also to increase your productivity and ultimately your profitability. So thick bed, waterproofing, moisture mitigation, they kind of all fit hand in hand with each other. There's also a lot of combination type products. So some membranes can serve multiple functions. It's not uncommon for a waterproofing membrane to double as a crack isolation membrane, maybe can triple as a sound reduction membrane, and might have even other features, if you will. Uncoupling membranes usually serve multiple purposes as well. There's some adhesives that can provide crack isolation and sound control, right? So multi-function products that can literally shave days off of a timeline might be advantageous if a homeowner is looking to get back into their living spaces in a quick manner. So it reduces the amount of time that they're either not in the home or restricted to certain rooms in the home. And obviously, when presented with these options, usually they'll take the faster turnaround. We talked about rapid setting adhesives. There's also rapid setting grouts, whether they're cementitious or epoxy. That gets you back onto an installation relatively quickly as well. And again, keep in mind, it's the time savings. The cost of the product might be a little bit more at times, but it's the labor savings in conjunction with the combined installation material cost that can really save time and make up a difference. Shower pans, lightweight materials there also can help reduce time by using preformed materials. So preformed pans versus trying to pull a very heavy, laborious mortar bed. Backer boards that are lightweight as well, that have sheet membrane applied to them already, and they're ready to tile. So you just, install it and just start tiling. You don't even have to waterproof it. The board is ready to go. That usually saves a day or so, even in that process as well. So there's lots of options. And this is just a quick visual that depicts that when using a standard system as compared to a full rapid system. So you take a look at a standard system when you're using several products, it can be 3 or 4 days. But a full rapid system, you might be able to do the whole installation in a day and a half, if you will. So that really has some value for the installer in how he can schedule his work, schedule the people that they have on the project site, and then the ultimate benefit is to the homeowner that they can get their area back in service a lot quicker. So this is the work faster potential here. So in summary, there's a lot of great trends in residential construction. It's never been hotter, the market, than it is now. We don't see that going away for the next year or so. In fact, that's what the predictions are, even, not only from a tile installation industry perspective, but in general from a construction outlook. Residential is continuing to grow in a lot of areas that are near metropolitan cities, if you will. We're seeing a lot of people leaving the big cities and coming out to the suburbs. Again, I'll give you an example here in Connecticut. Houses are being sold unseen, and they're going for prices greater than what the asking price is unseen, because people are moving away from the cities. They want to get away from the cities. They want these residential oases, if you for lack of a better description, and that's really driving the cost of homes up. And then once they're in those homes, they're renovating it. And there's a great opportunity for us in the tile industry to really be a part of that. So again, shower and bath upgrades are the primary areas of renovations in homes. And we're seeing a great trend in outdoor living areas. And that's going to continue on as well. In fact, I'm going to give a little plug for the NTCA and for Laticrete. The next Laticrete sponsored webinar, which I think takes place in July, if I'm not mistaken, is going to focus on outdoor living areas. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. And one of my colleagues will be delivering that. and they'll be showing you opportunities of how we can really build those systems from a technical standpoint, and then again where the profit will be in those areas. So there's a lot of installation solutions for renovations and obviously for new construction. Again, check with your installation materials manufacturer for what solutions they have for you. They can provide you with installation details, performance information, and fully designed systems that come backed with a full manufacturer's warranty. So take advantage of that if you possibly can. And then ultimately, use certified labor whenever possible. We believe that the labor component is the most important part of any tile installation. So we love that the NTCA is part of the joint industry efforts to continue to promote that. We encourage you to either become certified yourself or have your crews become certified. That way your labor performance can stand out above other competitors, and ultimately an installation can be done in accordance with industry standards and become a high performance system. And that also creates further demand for tile finishes, and that's great for all of us that are in the industry. So we thank the NTCA and our other industry partners that help us promote certified labor within our industry. So that's all I had for now. At this point, we'll bring Jim back in, and maybe we'll consider some questions if we have time. And again, I want to really thank everyone for attending, taking time out of your day to spend some time with us, and we hope that you found this webinar informative.
Art, great job. Very exciting to see some of the artistic looks and the amazing places where tile and stone are going to be used, already being used, but will grow in the future. I do want to let everyone know, Art brought up his Ladecrete's next program called Pools and Spas Outdoor Living Upgrades, and that is on June 8th. You'll be seeing a invite for that soon. But I think this is inspirational, Art. I think for any of our designers, our architects, our installers to see the areas and the artistic look and the new tiles and stones that are being used. I think it's a very inspirational presentation, and I'm glad you took the time to put this together and present it to our attendees here. I'll be real honest with you, it was such a great program. We have one question on yours. I think it was your slide that said the fastest shower installation slide. It indicates the most efficient and least amount of time. How many man hours or days do you think it takes to start to finish in assembling this waterproofing system standard 32 by 48 shower, assuming qualified labor is used? What do you think the time is of that?
That's a great question. Obviously, there's a lot of variables in there. I think we published 16 hours, I think. So keep in mind, you're not going to spend 16 continuous hours on a job site, right? So I would say, 2 days, maybe 3 days at the top end, if you're mixing and matching different systems. But that's under the assumption that you're using a already waterproof backer board, right? You're using a preformed pan possibly. So your waterproofing is already integrated into the component already. So think about how much time you're saving there. Then you're using rapid setting installation materials, right? And then you're coming back and grouting. So that's basically your sequence there. So you could be 2 days, day and a half, yeah. 2 days, 3 days at the top end.
She was asking about using an integrated bonding flange system in that system. So yeah, that's exactly right. That's good. Let's see here, we have another one. Do you track the amount of failures or problems your technical department receives on showers? Are the failures increasing or staying the same or reducing?
That's a great question. So all manufacturers definitely track complaints or claims or whatever you want to categorize them. So we're no different. We capture that information, whether it's related to the environment of a project, or the product didn't do what it said it did, or maybe it was installed improperly, or a combination of that. I will say this, that we noticed that the trend is actually improving. We're receiving less claims because you're using manufactured items that are already ready to go. So you're taking a lot of the guesswork out of it. You're taking a lot of the questionable potential either installation or environmental factors out of it. And by the use of preformed and manufactured items, you can control that a lot better. So what we notice is there's an improvement in that trend, if that makes sense.
So do you think it's important to learn the old school ways of shower insulation, even with this new technology that makes some of it easier?
So Jim, I'm an old school guy too. So if you're asking me that question, I think anyone who comes in our trade should learn that. I think it's an art, if you will, that's really peculiar to our trade. Think about the artisans that have come and gone in our trade. I would say yes. If it were me and I had a crew, and back in the day I did, we would teach them everything from pulling mud, floating walls. Teach them as much as you can, because that versatility obviously will always come in handy. I wasn't kidding when I said that there's nothing a tile man can't do. I've seen tile installers solve all sorts of things on a project site. But I will also say that the use of innovative modern materials makes your life a lot easier. So instead of lugging heavy, bulky materials, just think about lightweight backer boards, where you used to have to lug around a sheet of heavy backer board. Now you can carry 10 instead of 1. Those types of things are an improvement for the installer's experience all day long. But I don't think it eliminates the ability to train new tile installers on all methodology possible.
I mean, my thinking in life is the more you're educated in anything, the better off we are, right? The more educated, the better. So
Absolutely.
Coming from a setting material company and a technical person, Art, why do you think more gauged porcelain panel projects are not taking place?
I still think that there's a fear there. I think people see this massive finish and they're like, oh my goodness, that's not something I'm used to handling, and unfortunately they're not educating themselves on how it can be installed. Thin porcelain panels are a great opportunity for residential or even commercial renovations. Think about how much opportunity there is there to do tile over tile, tile over stone, and not introduce a lot of weight. That's usually why they don't use tile finishes in those projects, because they're thinking of the regular thickness material, they're thinking of the heaviness and how much weight it adds to the structure, and then what that structure can't handle. But thinner, lightweight products take that out of the equation, and it opens up so many opportunities for consumption of finishes in our industry, and that's what we're striving for.
So that leads me to my last little statement here, and that is, please look for NTCA regional training programs across the country. We're doing all-day GPTP training and substrate prep training, and Latacrete and all the manufacturers are supporting us and behind us in what we're doing. So please check our website, check our calendars, and see where they are and when they are, and register and attend. So, all right, Art, I just wanted to thank you. What a great presentation, and again, it was enlightening, and it was very positive. It made me feel good about some of the direction that we're going in our industry and some of the areas, new and old areas, that we're putting tile and stone in. So I want to thank you. You have a great time. I want to thank all of our attendees here. You guys, you come every other week we do these, and we have great attendance, and I appreciate it. So thank you all. Bye, Art.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. Bye-bye
Bye,
now.
everyone.
Bye.